Giang Dự sent the money. 386 yuan per person. Chao Din tossed the transfer QR code onto my desk, her fingernails tapping lightly against the tabletop. This was the 23rd time I had received this transfer code since joining the company 2 years and 3 months ago. I had never participated even once. Okay. I scanned the code, entered 386, and hit send. She put her phone away and turned around without even glancing back. Laughter sounded behind her. Tu Tru from the neighboring team leaned his head out and asked her. Sister Chow, yesterday's birthday dinner was amazing. Right? The salmon sashimi was super fatty. Wasn't it? We'll go again next time. I looked at my transfer history. 8.878 yuan. 2 years and 3 months. 8.878 yuan. I turned off my phone and went back to revising the proposal. Giang Dự, is the proposal finished? Fuang Triet's voice came from the office doorway. It's done, Manager Fuang. I sent the file to his inbox, printed a copy, and brought it in. He flipped through 2 pages, nodded, and said, looks good, we'll present it to the client this afternoon. I turned to leave and heard him call Chao Din back. Chao Din, you'll come with me to the presentation this afternoon. Yes, Manager Fuang. I paused for a moment but didn't turn around. This proposal had taken me 3 days to write, 2 consecutive nights without proper sleep. Chao Din hadn't touched a single word from beginning to end, yet she was the one going to present it. This wasn't the first time. Back at my desk, Ha Man was reapplying her lipstick. When she saw me, she curled her lip slightly. Hey, Giang Dự, about that proposal, Sister Chow said she helped you optimize it. Yeah, you should feel embarrassed. Writing it yourself and letting Sister Chow revise it for use, aren't you ashamed? I said nothing. I opened the document and checked the revision history. Last edit, Giang Dự. Yesterday, 23:47. Optimized where, exactly? I closed the file and kept working. At 4 p.m., Chao Din came out of the meeting room. Her face glowing. Manager Fuang said the client is very satisfied. As she passed my desk, she spoke just loudly enough for me to hear. This project should come with a pretty decent bonus. Tru Tan rushed over. Sister Chow, you're amazing. It's nothing, she said, the proposal itself was good. She glanced at me. There was something in her eyes I couldn't quite name. Or rather, something I pretended not to understand. After work, a message popped up in the group chat. Celebration dinner tonight at the usual place. 7 o'clock, karaoke after. Sender, Chao Din. I looked at the group name, Operations Team Activity Group. 17 people, I was one of them. More than 10 replies had already appeared. Okay, I'm in, got it. I didn't reply. I knew the message was sent to the group, but not meant for me. Sure enough, at 7:30 p.m., Chao Din sent another message. Giang Dự, transfer code, celebration dinner tonight, 412 yuan per person. I stared at the number. Celebration, celebrating the proposal I wrote. I opened the transfer page and entered 412. My finger hovered over the send button. I stopped for 3 seconds, then pressed send. The next morning, I turned on my computer. There was a new email in my inbox. Sender, HR Assistant. Subject, Q3 Project Bonus Distribution. I opened it and scrolled down. Key Q3 Project for Operations Department, Brand Promotion Plan 20. Bonus, 15 yuan. Recipient, Chao Din. I stared at that line for a long time. 15.000. The proposal I wrote. The nights I stayed up until my hair fell out. 15.000. I didn't get a single cent. Giang Dự, what are you spacing out for? Ha Man's voice sounded beside me. I closed the email. Nothing. Oh, right. Sister Chow said you need to make next month's planning table. She needs it this afternoon. Okay. I opened Excel and started working. Halfway through, I heard Chao Din's voice from Manager Fuang's office. Manager Fuang, I've received the bonus. Thank you. As you should. This time you did very well. Mainly because the whole team worked together smoothly. Everyone contributed. My hands froze. Everyone contributed. I looked up and met Chao Din's gaze. She smiled at me, gentle and perfectly appropriate. Giang Dự, is the planning table done yet? Almost. Hurry up, don't delay the work. She walked away. I continued filling in the table. At lunch, the new intern, Tu Lam, sat across from me. Sister Jiang, can I ask you something? Sure. Yesterday I heard Sister Chow say that Brand Promotion Plan 20 was written by her. But I remember, she hesitated, lowered her voice. I remember helping print the first draft. The name on it was yours. My chopsticks stopped midair. You saw it wrong. But, Tu Lam, I cut her off. In the workplace, ask less, say less, and don't interfere in other people's business. She fell silent, lips moving slightly, but said nothing more. I continued eating. My chopsticks trembled a little. At 5 p.m., Chow Din sent another message in the group. This Friday our department is doing escape room plus hot pot. If you're coming, reply with 1. The replies flooded in. 1, 1, 1, more than 10 of them. Not me. I didn't reply either, because I knew that even if I replied, no one would notice. 2 years ago, I had tried once. I replied, 1, in the group. That Friday, I stayed at the office until 7 p.m. No one contacted me. I messaged Ha Man to ask what time we were leaving. She replied, huh, you're coming too? I thought you weren't. We're already there. After that, I never replied again. But the money, I paid every single time. Friday afternoon, as usual, Chow Din sent the transfer code. Team building expenses, 298 yuan per person. I looked at the number and suddenly felt exhausted. Not physical exhaustion, but the kind that seeps into your bones. 2 years. I had been in this department for 2 years. Over 30 proposals written, none with my name on them. 0 team building events attended. 23 payments made. I was invisible, remembered only when money was needed. Jiang Du, have you transferred yet? Chow Din's voice sounded beside me. I looked up at her. Sister Chow, can I ask you something? What? Why was I never told about those team building events? She froze for a moment, then laughed. You were told, didn't we send it in the group? But no one ever told me the time or place. Then why didn't you ask? Her tone sharpened. Everyone's busy. Who has time to message people one by one? Besides, you usually don't talk much anyway. We thought you didn't want to go. But the money is split evenly, that's normal. You choosing not to go is your choice. But the cost belongs to the whole group. What, should everyone else pay more just because you didn't attend? Her logic was flawless, delivered without hesitation. I parted my lips but didn't know how to argue back. Something about it was wrong. Yet it sounded perfectly reasonable. All right, hurry up and transfer. I still need to book the room. I lowered my head, scanned the code, entered 298, and pressed send. Transfer successful. I stared at those 4 words and suddenly laughed at myself. On Monday morning, I arrived half an hour earlier than usual. The office was empty. I turned on my computer and logged into the company's internal system. I wanted to do something I should have done 2 years ago. I opened the project management system, entered the Brand Promotion Plan 20 file, and exported the complete revision history. Then I exported 6 proposals from the first half of this year. Then 12 from last year. Every document, every edit, who edited what and when, everything was crystal clear. I saved them all onto a USB drive. Then I opened my phone and pulled up all my transfer records from the past 2 years. 8.878 plus 298 equals 9.176. I took screenshots and saved them to the USB. That group had been created 2 years and 3 months ago, the exact month I joined. I opened the member list and counted 17 people. Then I searched the chat history for team building. 147 messages. I scrolled through them one by one. Every announcement had dozens of replies underneath. Not a single one from me. It wasn't that I didn't want to reply. It was that whenever I did, no one noticed. Over time, I stopped replying altogether. I captured those chat records too and saved them. When I was done, I leaned back in my chair and took a deep breath. 2 years. I spent 2 years weaving a cocoon around myself. I thought enduring a little longer would get me through. I thought speaking less meant offending fewer people. I thought doing my job well was enough to be recognized. I was wrong. The workplace isn't an exam. Doing things right doesn't guarantee you points. The workplace is a jungle. If you don't bite, someone else will bite you. Jiang Du, why are you here so early today? Ha Man's voice came from the door. I turned off the screen, turned around, and smiled at her. Couldn't sleep. Oh, she glanced at me suspiciously but said nothing more. At 9 o'clock, Xiao Din arrived on time. Passing my desk, she casually said, Jiang, Friday's team building was really fun. Too bad you didn't come. Really? I said, I'll definitely go next time. She paused, clearly not expecting that answer. I had always been silent before. All right, she said lightly, don't forget. She walked back to her seat. I watched her back, the corner of my mouth lifting slightly. There wouldn't be a next time. Wednesday afternoon, a notice appeared in the company-wide group. Employee satisfaction survey and feedback collection. Friday at 3 p.m. HR will host a session in the third-floor conference room. I scrolled down and saw one line at the bottom. If you have any issues or suggestions related to work, you may submit written materials in advance to the HR office. I stared at that line for a long time. Jiang, what are you spacing out for? Tiu Lam walked past with a cup of water, curiosity pulling her into a glance at my screen. It's nothing. I closed the page. Oh, right, Sister Jiang. She lowered her voice. I wanted to ask about that proposal. Are you really not going to say anything? I looked at her young face and suddenly remembered myself 2 years ago, fresh out of college. Full of enthusiasm, believing that as long as you worked hard, you would be rewarded. Tiu Lam, I said softly, do you know something? What? There are some things where speaking up doesn't help. Why? Because even if you say it, no one will believe you. She fell silent, then said, but that's not fair. This is the workplace. I smiled. You just started. You'll get used to it. She lowered her head and said nothing more. I patted her shoulder and went back to work. At 5:30 p.m., I clocked out on time. As I reached the elevator, someone called out behind me. Jiang, wait a moment. It was Fuang Triet. I stopped and turned around. Manager Fuang, is something wrong? He walked over quickly and lowered his voice. Tomorrow afternoon a client is coming. Please revise brand promotion plan 20 from last time. I need it for the presentation. Yes. Oh, he hesitated for a second. That proposal, it was actually done very well. My heart stirred slightly. I looked up at him. His expression was complicated, as if he wanted to say something more but decided against it. Thank you, Manager Fuang. Go home early and get some rest. He turned and left. I stood there, watching his back disappear, a thought surfacing in my mind. He knew. He knew exactly who wrote that proposal. But he didn't say anything. Why? I didn't know, but it no longer mattered. What mattered was that I knew. Thursday night, I stayed home organizing the materials on the USB drive. Project document revision logs, screenshots of transfer records, group chat histories, each item printed out, organized, and bound into a stack. 87 pages in total. This was my record from the past 2 years, and also my humiliation for those same 2 years. I looked at the thick stack of paper and suddenly remembered something. At last year's department year-end party, during the raffle, I won an air fryer. Xiao Din laughed and said, "Oh wow, Jiang is so lucky. Mine just broke. Are you going to use it?" I said yes. She then said, "Then you can hold onto it for now. If you don't end up using it, give it to me, okay?" The next day, that air fryer was already sitting in her kitchen. She even posted on Moments, first meal with the new fryer. Fried chicken wings. I tapped like. Last year during Mid-Autumn Festival, the company handed out mooncakes. Xiao Din said, "Jiang, can you even finish all of these? Give me 2 boxes." I gave them to her. Last winter, the company distributed down jackets. Xiao Din said, "Jiang, this size is a bit big for you but fits me perfectly. Let's switch." I switched. The larger jacket fit me just fine. The one that fit her, she wore all winter. Back then, what was I thinking? I thought, it's nothing, just small stuff. We're colleagues, no need to be petty. I thought she was senior and I was new. Giving in a little was only right. I thought as long as I was easygoing, people would like me. But what was the result? The easier I was, the more they pushed. The more I endured, the more they treated me like someone weak they could knead at will. I stared at the stack of documents, my eyes burning, not from self-pity, but from hatred toward myself. My phone rang. It was my mother. "Sweetheart, Are you coming home for the new year? Yes, Mom. How many days off do you get this year? I was silent for a moment. Mom, I'll probably stay home for quite a while this year. Why? Nothing, I just miss home. After hanging up, I stuffed the documents into my backpack. Tomorrow was Friday, the employee satisfaction survey day, and also my judgment day. Friday afternoon at 2:50, I carried my backpack into the third-floor conference room. Sister Lee from HR was already there. She looked surprised when she saw me. Giang, you're early. Hello, Sister Lee. I have some materials I want to submit in advance. I took the documents out of my backpack and placed them in front of her. What's this? You'll understand once you look. She flipped to the first page. A project summary table. The left column listed project names. The middle column listed the actual executor. The right column listed the credited person. 30 projects, 30 rows. In the actual executor column, every name was Giang. In the credited person column, every name was Chao Din. Sister Lee's expression changed. She kept flipping. The second section contained screenshots of the project management system's revision history, black and white. Unmistakably clear. The document creator, Giang. Every late-night revision, Giang. Chao Din's name appeared only once. At the final submission. Is this real? System data can't be forged. She continued to the third section, transfer histories. 23 transfers, a total of 9.176 yuan. Each transaction listed the time, amount, and the corresponding group message. And this, she asked. Evenly split costs for team building events. I replied, over 2 years and 3 months. 23 events. I was never informed, but I paid every time. Her brows knitted tighter. They didn't notify you? There were messages in the group, but no clear time or location. When I asked, no one replied, but the money was collected in full. I gave a faint smile. Chao Din said, splitting evenly is the rule. Not going is my choice. But others shouldn't pay for me. Sister Lee was silent for a moment, then asked, how do you want this handled? I looked straight at her. I want fairness. Credit that belongs to me returned to me. Money that should have been mine refunded. And an apology, one that's owed must be given. And if they don't admit it? The evidence is all here. I pointed at the stack of documents. Whether they admit it or not doesn't matter anymore. The door opened, and people began filing in. Chao Din entered first, still wearing her familiar smile. When she saw me, she froze for a second. Giang, why are you here too? Employee satisfaction survey, I said. I'm an employee. Oh, she laughed lightly. I thought you didn't participate in things like this. I didn't before. I smiled back. Today is an exception. She seemed to sense something. Her expression stiffened for a split second, then quickly recovered. All right then, let's sit together. She sat down beside me. Sister Lee cleared her throat. Okay, everyone's here, let's begin. Sorry, could you wait a moment? I raised my hand. What is it? There's something I'd like to say in front of everyone. The room fell instantly silent. Chao Din turned to look at me. A flash of vigilance crossed her eyes. What is it? I stood up, picked up the stack of documents, and walked to the projector. Like this. I turned it on. I want to show everyone a few things. The screen lit up. The first slide was the project allocation table. 30 projects, 2 columns of names in stark contrast. Man's eyes widened. These are all the projects I participated in over the 2 years since joining the company. I said, pointing at the screen. On the left is the actual writer. On the right is the credited person. Everyone can take a look. The room was dead silent. Chao Din's face completely changed. Giang, what do you mean by this? Nothing, I said, flipping to the next slide. I just want everyone to see how credit is distributed in our department. The screen displayed screenshots from the project management system, revision histories. Timestamps, usernames, each line crystal clear. This is the revision history for Brand Promotion Plan 20. I said, Creator, Giang. Final revision, Giang. Last edit time, 2 a.m. But the credited author is Chao Din. And the 15 yuan bonus went to Chao Din. Chao Din jumped to her feet. You're slandering me. I wrote that proposal. Did you? I smiled. Then let me ask you. Where did the user persona data in Section 3 come from? She froze. You don't know? Then I'll tell you. I spent a full week scraping data from 3 platforms and manually consolidating it. Section 5. Competitor Analysis. Do you even know what framework it uses? Her lips moved, but no words came out. SWOT combined with Porter's 5 forces. I continued. I learned that in grad school. What was your undergraduate major again? I can keep going. I cut her off. The proposal is 87 pages long. I can recite the content of every page. What about you? Her face flushed red. Man whispered. Sister Chow, is this true? Of course not. Chow Din screamed. She's just jealous of me. Jealous of you? I laughed. Sister Chow, what exactly am I jealous of? Jealous that you steal my credit every time? Or that you collect money from me every time? Or that you never notify me about team building events but still make me split the cost? I flipped to the next slide. 23 transfers. A total of 9.176 yuan. This is the team building money I paid you over the past 2 years. I pointed at the screen. Sister Chow, why don't you explain to everyone where I was when I paid these? Her face turned deathly pale. Those team building events were ones you chose not to attend, she said weakly. I chose not to? I sneered. Sister Chow, when did you ever tell me a specific time? When did you ever tell me a meeting location? There were announcements in the group. In the group? I switched to the next screenshot. This is the chat history. Every time you announced it, I asked, and no one replied. I asked for time and location, no response. In the end, the only thing sent on time was the transfer code, delivered directly to my private messages. Look at this last line. I pointed at the screen. Last December's New Year team building event. I asked 3 times what time we were leaving. No one replied. That afternoon, you sent me the transfer code and said it was 512 per person. Man and True Ham exchanged a look. Then both lowered their heads. So I want to ask, I said, sweeping my gaze across the room. Was this money split among everyone? No one spoke. It wasn't split, was it? I continued calmly, which means it all went into Sister Chow's pocket. Chow Din's body began to tremble. Why, you can't talk nonsense. I didn't. I took out my phone. Then let me call the restaurant. For every team building event, the restaurant keeps records. 16 people or 17 people, 1 call and we'll know. Her face turned paper white. Giang Dự, her voice changed, trembling with sobs. We're colleagues. If there was a problem, couldn't you have talked properly? Why bring this up now? I looked straight at her. Then why didn't you talk properly 2 years ago? When I first joined the company, Manager Fuang said he wanted to take me to meet clients. You stood in front of the whole office and said, she's too inexperienced, don't scare the clients. The first proposal I ever wrote. You said, what kind of garbage is this? Then you deleted everything I'd spent 3 sleepless nights working on and made me rewrite it. When I suggested an idea, you said I didn't understand the rules, that newcomers should talk less and listen more. So after that, I stopped talking. I thought as long as I did my job well, sooner or later I'd be seen. And what was the result? The work was done by me. The credit was yours. The money was paid by me. Team building, I never had a place. Chow Din, I said each word clearly. What exactly did you take me for? An ATM? The conference room was so quiet you could hear breathing. Chow Din stood there, lips trembling, unable to say a word. Finally, Sister Lee spoke. Chow Din, how do you explain all of this? Chow Din's eyes were red. I didn't do it on purpose. Not on purpose? I picked up her words. For 2 straight years, you never notified me about team building. Not on purpose? You took my name off my proposals every single time. Not on purpose? I helped optimize those proposals, she shrieked. Optimize? I laughed. The system records are very clear. You opened each proposal exactly once, after I submitted it. You didn't even finish reading before signing your own name. You're slandering me. The evidence is all here. Who is slandering whom? She suddenly turned to Fuang Triet. Manager Fuang, say something for me. I was the one who presented all those proposals. You know that best. Fuang Triet's expression became extremely complicated. He looked at me, then at Chow Din, and after a long pause, finally spoke. Chow Din, Those proposals were indeed written by Giang Dự. What? Chao Din froze. I let you present them because you were senior and knew how to keep things stable. He sighed. But who wrote them? I knew very well. Then why didn't you say anything? Because I thought you were only presenting on her behalf. And that the bonus would be shared with her afterward. I didn't expect. He shook his head. I didn't expect you wouldn't even have that much conscience. The last trace of color drained from Chao Din's face. Manager Fuang. That's enough. Sister Lee cut her off. The company will investigate this thoroughly and give everyone a fair answer. She turned to me. Giang Dự, your requests will be handled seriously. Thank you, Sister Lee. I gathered my documents and prepared to leave. Wait. Chao Din suddenly rushed over and grabbed my wrist. Giang Dự, you can't do this. We're colleagues. If you do this, how am I supposed to stay in the company? I looked down at her hand. 2 years ago, when she handed me transfer QR codes, that same hand had been firm and decisive. Now it was shaking. Sister Chao, I said softly, prying her fingers off one by one. Have you ever thought about what it was like for me to stay in this company for the past 2 years? She froze. When you all went team building, I stayed behind working overtime. When you went to collect bonuses, I was writing proposals. When you posted on social media, I was revising the 18th version of the presentation slides. I'm not emotionless. I just didn't speak. I'm not unhurt. I just endured it. I thought if I endured, it would pass. If I talked less, I wouldn't offend anyone. If I worked hard, I'd be recognized. But what was the result? What did I get from enduring for 2 years? You treated me like I was invisible. Like an ATM. Like free labor. I took a step back and looked at her. So from today on, I won't endure anymore. 3 days later, the company announced the investigation results. Chao Din's bonus was revoked and returned to me. All excess team building fees I had paid over the past 2 years, 9.176 yuan, were ordered to be refunded by Chao Din. At the same time, Chao Din was transferred out of the operations department due to inappropriate work conduct and reassigned to logistics. I heard that on the day she received the transfer notice. She cried in the office for 2 full hours. Man came to see me once. Giang Dự, about before, we didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, don't take it to heart. We're all colleagues. If you can, maybe say a word to Sister Lee so we don't get dragged into this. Man, I interrupted her. Do you know why I didn't ask anymore when you didn't notify me about team building? She froze. Because I did ask. I asked 3 times and no one replied. The 4th time, why ask again? It's not that you didn't know. You just didn't think it mattered. I looked straight at her. After all, 1 person less didn't matter. You could even save some money. Her face flushed red. So I'm not doing this because I wanted to. I'm doing this because you all needed to understand it yourselves. Her lips moved, but she said nothing. She turned and walked away. That afternoon, Manager Fuang called me into his office. Giang Dự, there's an upcoming project. I want you to take charge of it. I was a little surprised. I know your capabilities, he said, looking at me. Before this, I didn't handle things well. I let you suffer unfairly. Manager Fuang, I asked, you knew those proposals were written by me. Why didn't you say so from the beginning? He fell silent for a moment. What good would it have done? Chao Din has seniority and strong connections. If I said it was her fault, she wouldn't admit it, and I'd offend her. So you chose to let me keep taking the loss. I thought you didn't care. Didn't care? I smiled faintly. Is there anyone who truly doesn't care about having their hard work stolen? He said nothing. All right, I stood up. I'll take the project, but I have one condition. What condition? For every project I participate in, my name must be on it. Someone else can present it if needed, but the final signature must be mine. He nodded. That's only natural. And one more thing. I looked straight at him. From now on, I hope you'll be fair in this department. He froze for a second, then gave a bitter smile. I understand. I turned and left the office. Sunlight streamed through the window, warm against my skin. After 2 years, I had finally broken out of that cocoon. A month later, the project I led was handed over smoothly. The client was satisfied, the company issued commendations, and the bonus was 20 yuan. This time, the name on the project was Giang Dự. The presenter was also Giang Dự. The entire bonus belonged to me. Standing in the conference room, I looked at my name projected onto the screen and suddenly felt my nose sting. It wasn't because of the money, but because of those two characters. I had waited 2 years for them. After the meeting, Tu Lam ran over. Giang Dự, you're amazing. It was just okay, I said. Did you know? Ever since Chow Din was transferred to logistics, she complains every day, saying you ruined her. Let her, I replied. She even said that if you hadn't reported her, she'd be team leader by now. I laughed. Then let her keep dreaming. Tu Lam laughed too. Oh right, Giang Dự, we're having a department dinner tonight. Are you coming? I paused. I was invited? Of course. The group chat announced it. 7 o'clock, Sichuan restaurant. I took out my phone and opened the group chat. Sure enough, there was a message. Tonight, department dinner to celebrate the successful project. At everyone, 7 p.m. at the Sichuan restaurant. No absences. It was sent by Phuong Triet, followed by a string of 111 replies. For the first time in 2 years, my name was included in the mentions. Are you going? Tu Lam asked. I stared at the message for a few seconds. Of course. Great, let's go together then. Okay. I put my phone away and followed her out. When we reached the door, I suddenly turned back and looked at the conference room one more time. The projector was still on. My name still displayed on the screen. White background, black letters, clear and unmistakable, Giang Dự. No one could take those two characters away anymore. At 7 that evening, when I pushed open the private room at the Sichuan restaurant, 7 or 8 people were already seated. They all froze when they saw me. Then Phuong Triet smiled. Giang Dự here? Come on in, have a seat. I chose a corner seat. Ha Man sat beside me, looking a little awkward. Giang Dự, you came too? Yes, Manager Phuong asked me. About what happened last time. I cut her off. Let's not bring it up. She visibly relaxed. That's good, that's good. Dishes were brought out one by one, and the atmosphere gradually warmed up. After a few rounds of drinks, Phuong Triet stood and raised his glass. Tonight's dinner is for 2 reasons. First, to celebrate the project's success. Second, to apologize to Giang Dự. The room fell silent. He looked at me. Giang Dự, I mishandled things before and caused you a lot of grievance. I owe you an apology. He drained his glass. I raised mine and drank as well. Manager Phuong, I said, let's leave the past behind. As long as things are fair from now on. Absolutely, he said quickly. He sat down, and the atmosphere lightened again. True Ham came over with a glass. Giang Dự, remember to bring me in on projects from now on. Sure. Ha Man leaned over as well. Giang Dự, let's work well together from now on. Don't hold a grudge over last year. I looked at her smile and felt a trace of irony. 2 years ago, these people treated me like I didn't exist. 2 years later, they were holding glasses and flattering me. Had they changed? No. What changed was my position. I was no longer easy to bully. I had results. I had value. I was someone management cared about. Isolating me now would come at too high a cost. Their change wasn't remorse, it was interest. I raised my glass and smiled. All right, let's work well together. There was not a shred of sincerity in it. But this was the workplace. If you don't bite, others will bite you. When you know how to bite back, people learn to fear you. A very simple truth, it took me 2 years to understand. When the dinner ended, it was already past 10. I stepped out of the restaurant, the night breeze brushing against my face. Giang Dự, Tu Lam chased after me. Let me take you home. No need, I'll call a car. All right. She hesitated, then asked, Giang Dự, can I ask you something? Go ahead. Do you regret it? Regret what? Exposing what Chow Din did. She asked carefully, what if she retaliates against you in the future? I smiled. Do you know why I endured it for 2 years before speaking up? She shook her head. Because before, I didn't have enough evidence. And I wasn't confident enough. I could only endure, wait, and accumulate. Wait for what? An opportunity. I looked at her. Wait until I was strong enough. Wait until the evidence was solid enough. Wait until she had no room to fight back. So you prepared all this in advance? Yes. In the workplace, don't turn against people lightly. I said, But once you do, make sure they can't stand back up. Tiu Lam stared at me, eyes shining. Giang Dự, you're really impressive. It's not that I'm impressive. I said, I was bullied for too long. So I learned. She was quiet for a moment. Then said softly, Giang Dự, I don't want to become like them. Like Ha Man and the others? She nodded. I don't want to live by flattering the strong and stepping on the weak. I want to live by my ability. Like you. I looked at her young face and suddenly saw myself from 2 years ago. Back then, I thought the same way, until reality taught me a painful lesson. Relying on your ability is right, I said, but you also have to learn how to protect yourself. How'd I do that? Keep records of everything you do. Every email, every chat, every document, save them all. And then? Then talk less and do more. Don't trust people too easily. And don't offend people casually. But you offended Chao Din. I didn't offend her. I corrected. I dealt with her. Those are two different things. What's the difference? The difference is that I had evidence, preparation, and a way out. She lost because she deserved to. Tiu Lam nodded, understanding but not completely. All right, I patted her shoulder. It's late. Go home. Goodbye, Giang Dự. She ran off. I stood there, watching her figure disappear into the night. Then I took out my phone and opened my banking app. Salary deposited, bonus added, plus the money Chao Din returned. Total, 51.176 yuan. I stared at the number and laughed. 2 years. 2 years to go from someone who was bullied to someone who wasn't easy to mess with. The process was painful, exhausting, humiliating, but worth it. I called a car and gave my home address. It was late. I leaned back in the seat and closed my eyes. Tomorrow would be a new day. I would still go to work. Still do projects. Still stay at this company. But I was no longer the Giang Dự of 2 years ago. Now, I am not easy to bully. Anyone who wants to suppress me should think carefully about whether they can afford the price. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to China Story Tales, and stay tuned for more stories.